Okay, I've got the carburetor off. A CT200. These are really simple carburetors. We're going to take this apart and see if we see anything obvious. You could see inside here that there's the throttle there, and you can adjust how rich it runs or lean it runs. I'll show you that later by adjusting where the clip lies on this needle here. It'll make more sense when I get in there. Well, I did clean it up previously, so it looks pretty good, but I can see garbage floating in there. One of my problems is when I initially hooked this up to the fuel tank, I didn't have a fuel filter in here. And although there's a screen in here, I probably got some of that garbage from the fuel tank. Blow everything out and see if we can't get this thing running properly. Oh, it's rusty in there. I got some grime on that. This is the little screen filter here. Little gasket. Yeah, there's a lot of garbage on that. I cleaned this, so there's a good chance we got some garbage in there from the fuel tank. I'm going to clean this up here. I'm going to go ahead and just disassemble everything and make sure we get this cleaned out.
This is like a petcock valve, or I think they officially call it a fuel tap, but it basically selects reserve or on or closed, just like a petcock valve would, but it's attached to the carburetor body itself.
When I first cleaned this was hard. It feels like the fuel has softened it up a bit, which is probably good. Otherwise, it acts as a gasket, I believe, and keeps it from leaking. The floats are dry. They don't have liquid in them, and that needle's moving up and down. I don't know if I want to take that out. I probably should. Oh boy, that jet is in there. I don't think I got that out last time. Yeah. Well, I'm successfully breaking up the brass here. I think I'm going to leave that and make sure I can blow carb cleaner and everything through this. I will pull out this jet. I can see through the holes on this one. I think this is still clear. But that's not going to keep me from blowing carb cleaner and air through this. These are handy little brushes and wires to help clean out jets, but the set I have on these tiny little motorcycle engines, boy, you can get through some of them, but these tinier ones, I end up using just a little piece of copper there. Copper wiring from a bristle brush. Get that through there. Like I said, these aren't clogged. I can see through them. But that's something that can help you with those tiny little ports. Let's go ahead and get this throttle cable off and show you the adjustment on that. This right here is the end of the throttle cable. Just pull that out. Just going to set this aside. There is a little clip down inside here. It just slides in. And it helps keep this, oh there we go, needle down. So you can adjust the richness or the leanness from here, and I've got it all the way bottomed out. So there's a little clip on that. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't see, but there's little grooves on here that this clip can go into different spots. Something I've used is this little book. It's a reprint of an old book, and it's what will cover the CT200s. It actually doesn't say CT200, but it'll cover them. It just refers to them as a Trail 90. And inside it'll refer to them as CT200. Also, you can download this online, Honda 90. I just took it to the local print shop and they spiral bound it for me. And it's a shop manual. It's just a free download online. If you search for the shop manual for the Honda CT200, you'll find the link. Alright, I went ahead and moved this down a couple notches. In this manual, it'll talk about making it richer or leaner depending on the direction you do it. So if you move it this way, the needle will go in more, probably make it leaner. Just moved it down a couple this direction and put it in the middle, and I can work from that one way or another if I need to make some adjustments there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together here and move on to the next step. Just drops through there. This guy goes in here. Just use an 8mm socket to seat that retaining clip there. Here's a problem. It needs to be oriented such that it doesn't interfere. With the throttle cable. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in like that. Drop that in there. Let that return. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with this little port down here. That's what you don't want to do, is squirt it in your eyes. Alright, luckily I was wearing glasses. Avoided most of that. You don't have to know what's connected to what. You could start squirting in these holes and see where it comes out. That one's obviously clear. I think I'm going to go ahead punch this float out so I don't damage it. And I did pull this out last time. Grab a cloth and you're not exactly sure where it's coming out at. Get her covered up. Now I do know that these jets are picking up fuel. However, when I get on the throttle, bogs down. I think this is just a return. This actually connects to the bottom of the carburetor here. Some sort of overflow return. Probably sounding like an idiot to anybody watching who knows what they're talking about. But I think these are all clear. It's just a stop there. Why don't you organize yourself? Good idea. This is carburetor on another 90. It's twin. And you can see how gunked up and frozen everything is. These are stuck in here. Clean it up as good as I can, and then that's smart. Dump it into my cleaner. So that's how this one started. So you can see why I've had to go through this a couple times to get it clean. But I was just verifying this is the shorter of the two goes here, and this is the longer one. They both have springs in them. They're adjustable, so the springs help hold the tension. I'm going to have to look up if this has what setting this needs to be. I'm going to seat it and go back 1.5, start there. That spring is still in there. This one, I believe, you start at 1.25. So seat it. Don't crank on it. Just seat it half, full, quarter. Get that sealed up. If that's not sealed, it can be sucking air in, and you get a super lean running engine. That's not going to be good. So I'll probably address that when I put it back on. Blow some air through the rest of these ports here. Ooh, something came flying out. Alright, let's put it back together and see what we got. I found a lot of success with these usually have some sort of clip, but I don't believe this has that design. I've had a lot of success just taking them apart, cleaning them up good, blowing them out, putting them back together again. Making me look like a fool. Got that flow in. Just want to verify that the needle falls freely. So when the float goes up, because of the fuel level, it pushes up that needle and it closes off basically the fuel from allowing it to flow in and overflow the float ball. You'll get leaks and all sorts of things. Oftentimes when you get a leak out of your carburetor, it's because this is stuck open, or your float's bad or has a hole in it and it fills with water and it doesn't float. Kind of an interesting way that it works. This piece doesn't move, but this piece will basically rotate and block off. This is an opening. So it's raised on this side, and the opening side goes down and will allow fuel to flow from one hole to the other here, this hole to that hole here, or put it on reserve here. So it's kind of an interesting system the way they have that set up. You'd think that it would leak like crazy. Maybe it will. These orient themselves in the little grooves here, right here, and right here. That's not right. That wouldn't work. And we get this guy. Right on top. This should seat down flat here. The curve in that, I'll call it a spring, a circular piece there, acts to hold this tight against the plastic ports. Port selection circle device. That's what it's called officially. These on there pretty good. And then we've got good resistance there. Opening and closing. Let's get these guys back in their homes. This one just tightens all the way down. Of course, you can change the size of this. This is 38. I'm at a high altitude here. I don't know if this is even jetted correctly. My guess is I'm going to have some issues and some trial and error trying to get it to get the right air-fuel mixture. But again, these are so simple that there's not a lot of adjustments to be made. These ones just get tightened all the way down. I like to look around, make sure I didn't leave anything out. This does get oriented. You probably can't see in there, but there are little guides right here and over here, corresponding channels. And it won't go in unless you get it in right, but don't jam it in there. Okay. I'll just go ahead and get this tightened down. I backed it out way too far. Don't need to do that. You know, you should probably wear rubber gloves, but your regular rubber gloves, they just deteriorate so quick with carb cleaner and gasoline. That's free, that's free. Well, I want it to work. I think it's going to work. We'll give it a shot. Little update here on this throttle stop screw. As you adjust this clockwise and counterclockwise, it engages with this throttle slide. There's a slant to this little gap right here, and as that pushes in on this, this slides in and slides out to adjust the throttle. I think we'd probably call that an idle today, but they're calling it throttle stop here. So that adjusts the idle, and then you've got your air screw to adjust the air-fuel ratio there. I'm going to mess with those and come back and tell you what I find. So I got the carburetor back on and it fired right up, and smooth idle. But again, getting on the gas, it bogged down. My assumption is it is not the main jet, but that it was the timing advance. So I took the cover off here, and right behind the points system and ignition, you've got this timing advance with centrifugal force, and this is all frozen up. So regardless of how well the carburetor was working, once you get on the gas, you need to advance the timing, and this mechanism was seized up. You can see it's rusted all through here. So I think at this point, I'm just gonna remove the engine completely, disassemble, use parts from another engine, as I stated previously, and get one good working engine. And I'll have that in the upcoming episodes.